So this first section is just our formulas. Your slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And once you match these all together on your test, you can always flip back to the front page to look back at them as you take the rest of the test. Do you remember use the test to help you take the test? Like they're all on there. The formulas are all printed on there, so you can always look back at them. Slope-intercept form. That's why good old y equals mx plus b. Point slope. That's the recipe that we've been using to set up all these problems. You guys have done really well with it. Good. Y minus y1. Good. And then x minus your x number. So x minus x1. You got that? Keep up. Yep. X, then y, then your equal sign. Ax plus by equals c. We don't use that one as much, but it's still on here. Parallel slopes are the same. So whatever slope one of them is, the other one's the same thing. That's because they run along next to each other. They both go up 2 over 3 or whatever it is. Opposite. And then these are opposite, reciprocal. So you change the sign. I like to say opposite, not negative, because if it's negative, you would make it positive. It's the opposite, and then you flip it over. So again, once you get all those matched together, which it's matching, so I think you'll get them all. You can always look back at that as you take the rest of the test to use that to take the rest of the test. All right, so write an equation that represents a line with undefined slope. Is that the Hoy or the Vux? Undefined. That's Vux. Undefined. Maybe we'll play Quizlet if we have time at the end here. So is it going to be x equals or y equals? Yeah, Vux. X equals, look at your point. Which one is the x number? -1 is the x part of that point. That's it, Ms. Cole? Yep, that's it. Your horizontal and vertical lines, like that's all that there is to those. So it's easy. It's also hard though, because you have to remember which one's which. All right, here we want slope is -3, goes through this point. So just like we did on our quiz, you have your ingredients, use your recipe. It's y minus which one of those numbers? +2. Yeah, so good, it'll be +2. Perfect. This is going to go so well. Equals, yeah, -3, parentheses. Good. You guys have got that. That is so good that you've got it, because it's super easy. You just have to memorize the formula. All right, and then 2 steps. What's the first step? We got 2 things to do here. Yep. Distribute, good vocabulary. That'll be -3x minus 18. Very good. And then go ahead. What's the last step? Yep, we're going to subtract 2. Hold on, I'm just clicking on this pass here. So subtract 2. See how I lined it up? And our final answer is y equals -3x. What would that be? -18 and -2. -20. But if you didn't know that, or you wanted to double check, what would you do? Put it in the calculator. There's no shame in using the calculator. I want you to get the answers right. Tests are a lot easier for me to grade when all the answers are right. So I want to have happen. Go ahead. Yeah, can you put it in pause? All right, so we're going to write an equation that goes through these 2 points. Do we have a slope? Oh, no, that's the first thing we need to find then. So first, let's get our slope. We're going to use this little slope formula right here. Subtract the y numbers, subtract the x numbers. So which 2 are your y numbers? 5 and 13. Good. We're going to do 13 minus 5. Divided by, all right, and then what's going to go on the denominator? Maybe somebody different. Yep, 3 minus 1. Good. And then I'm going to put that into Desmos. Just exactly like it looks. All right, so use your calculator. 13 minus 5 divided by 3 minus 1. There we go, 4. Yay. Now you have to pick one of these points. Do you remember what I told you? If you have to choose a point, which one to pick? Just take the first one for no other reason than it's the first one. You have to choose one, so just choose one. And now we're going to do the exact same thing we did in the question before. If you did it in question 8, you can do it in question 9. All right, just do the exact same thing again. It had one extra step where you had to find the slope. So it's y minus 5 equals what? 4 is our slope. Good. X minus 1. Perfect. And then 2 steps. You're going to distribute the 4. This is awesome. You guys are all listening and paying attention. You're going to destroy this test. That's what I want you to do, is come in here and rock this. Best grade you can. Remember, if you do better on the test than the quiz, I replace your quiz grade. Yeah, so like if your quiz grade's a 70 and your test grade's an 80, I turn the 70 into an 80. I just threw out numbers, right? And then what's your last step here? Yep, plus 5. Add 5. Perfect. Thank you. Let me see where I want to do a break. We'll do a little bit more and then I'll give us a break. We'll do a halfway break at some point here. We got to get a little bit further though. You have to have more of an attention span than that. All right, write an equation that passes through these points. If you are a good noticer, you will not need to do any work. If you are a good noticer, what do you notice about these 2 points? They both have 4. Is 4 the X or the Y? The Y. Your answer is Y equals 4, and that is literally it. That's it, Miss Cole? Yep. If the X numbers were the same, then it would be X equals whatever that number was. Okay. Now, hey, Miss Cole, what if I didn't notice that and I went through finding the slope and doing the whole, like all of this? You would get the same answer, but you'd have to do all this work. Do you see what I'm saying? Trying to save you some work. You notice that, then that'll go well for you. All right. Hey, look at this one. Let me share my screen. What button do I hit to get the whole party started for typing in a table? Plus, table. This should go real quick. 1, 5, 9. Can you guys just watch though? I realize I'm doing this and you're kind of just watching, but can you make sure I don't type anything wrong? Because if I type something wrong, guess what? Whole thing's wrong. All right, then what goes here?
You typed that wrong.
Oh, did I type something wrong? Oh, there we go. All right, what's going to go right here? Okay, y equals mx plus b. We need the ones and then the squiggle. If you're in the back, you might not be able to see, but you guys, like somebody up front, can you see what's our slope? 3, and then our y-intercept? 4. So just put it together with the 3 and the 4. What's your answer? Y equals 3x plus 4. Easy peasy. That's all you got to do. All righty. Type it in the calculator. Calculator gives you the answer. Let's do this next little section here, and then I'll give you a brain break. You guys are paying attention really well. This is going good. Oh, wait. Go ahead. Are you sure? All right. If you think of it, let me know. All right. Find your slope given the points. Now, we flipped the paper over, but for heaven's sake, if you needed to flip back to it, you could. All right. You're going to subtract your y numbers. Which 2 are the y numbers? Good. 5 minus 4. And then do your x's. -1. Good. It would be minus -3, but we can put plus 3. Miss Cole, I would rather write minus -3. Cool. That's a personal preference. It's totally up to you. I'm going to put this in the calculator. And we'll get our slope. Let me get rid of all this. So 5 minus 4 divided by -1 plus 3. Our slope is, now, do you want a decimal? No. So I'm going to turn it back into a fraction. Oh, I should have asked that. Does anyone know 0.5 is 1/2? Like, where then? Okay. I feel like you should know that one. All right. So anyway, 1/2 is our answer to that. So we're going to write point slope equation. You have to pick a point. Which point did I tell you to pick? You have to just pick one. So just pick the first one. There's no point in sitting there going, oh, which point should I pick? Just take the first one. All right. So it'll be y minus 4 equals, what's our slope? We just found it. 1/2. You see that right there? Is everybody okay? And then good, it'll be x minus -3, so x plus 3. All right, and we're going to do the same thing. If you're like, hey, Miss Cole, it feels like we're doing the same thing over and over again. Math is kind of like that. It is very drill and practice, all right? Y minus 4 equals, we're going to distribute our 1/2. That will be 1/2 x plus, hey, I don't know half of 3. Let me go to my calculator. 1/2 times 3. Now, I'm okay with that being a fraction or a decimal. So which one do you want? The fraction is 3/2. The decimal is 1.5. Actually, don't. You want the decimal for that one? I don't mind. I like for the slope to be a fraction, but if you want that other number to be a decimal, that's fine. Or a fraction, I don't care. Whatever you want to put is good. And then your last step is add 4. So it'll be y equals 1/2 x plus, what is that going to give you? 1.5 plus 4. Yeah, 5.5. Good. Nice job, guys. Perfect. Standard form is the harder one. Okay, I get that because we don't use it as much. You have to move these x's over. How would I move the x's over? Would I add or subtract? Y would be minus, because that's correct. Because it's positive right now. So we're going to subtract over the 1/2 x. Can you stop that? I'm going to give you a break once we get through this one. You've had a good attention span, but this is the one that was commonly missed on the quiz. So let's try and pay attention to this one. Now, what order do you want to write this in? X before what? Good. Negative 1/2 x plus what? What would come next? Yeah, 1y. You can put a 1 in front of it if you want. Equals 5.5. Now, again, I don't know who decided this. It wasn't up to me. No one asked me my opinion. But you're not allowed to start with a fraction. You're actually also not allowed to start with a negative. So let's get rid of the fraction first. What do you multiply by to get rid of a 1/2? 2, but if we multiply everything by a -2, like it'll take care of it all at once, and I'm just trying to save you some work. Hey, Ms. Cole, I would rather do it in 2 separate steps. That's fine. Like, it's up to you. It doesn't matter. Right? But the point is these cancel. You get 1x. And then what would this part be? Don't overthink it. Yeah, -2y. You can write plus -2y. That's fine. Again, up to you. I don't care. I'll mark it right. 5.5 times -2. Hey, Ms. Cole, I don't know what 5.5 times -2 is. That's fine. Type in the calculator. Look, 5.5 times -2. -11. All right, and then your last step, you're going to graph it. It does not matter which version of this you type in the calculator. I would probably just type the first one. Y minus 4 equals 1/2 x plus 3. Will you guys please use your calculator? Pep talk. I had a lot of people on the check-in that we did miss questions that you could just button push in the calculator. You should not miss any question that you can just type in the calculator. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, if you can just type it in, you should get it right. All right, now let's find some pretty points. This one's going to be off the grid. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh, there's one. Do you see that one? Oh, I got it on the first try. Do you see that? -5,3. Go ahead and plot that. -5,3. I'm just looking for some pretty points. So -5,3. Let me move this over, see if we can find another one. Here's another one. Do you see that there? Just kind of mess around with it until you find it. What is that one? I can't land exactly on it. Do you see it though? -3 what? 4. Good. -3, 4. Sorry, I can't get it exactly, but -3, 4. And then let your slope instinct kick in. What are we doing to get the points? Thank you. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. If you can count to 2, you can do it. All right. Also, you can see right here, the slope is 1/2. So use your calculator. Use your resources. You should not miss any question that you can use the calculator for. I get that this part was hard, manipulating all of that, but this is in the calculator, so you can do that. So we are on 17. You guys all looking here? This one is a story problem. U-Haul charges a flat rate of $50 plus an additional $150 per mile that you drive to rent a truck. So let's write an equation for that. It's going to be y equals, so 150x, good. The reason that gets the x with it is because that's the per mile part. Bless you. So you pay $150 per mile plus $50. Look at that and let that sink in a second. Do you see how we took all those numbers and put it together? It's going to be a y equals mx plus b. Your slope is going to be the per. Remember, slope is per. Let's write that down. Per means slope. That's your slope. Something per something else. Oh, you're even ahead of me. All right, so let's graph it, showing at least 3 points. You can use the calculator. So just watch, I'm gonna type it in. Y equals 150x plus 50. Now I can't see it. Why do you think that is? You have to zoom out. It went up 50. That plus 50 moved it all the way up here. So hold on a second. Let's find it. 50. Okay, so you can put a point at 50, obviously. And I made the graph so that you could do that. All right, and then let's find another pretty point. Look, I see one right here. I can't land exactly on it, but do you see how it's 20, 80? All right, so we've got 20, 80, so you can do that. Oh, did I not label this right? Oh, hold on a second. Let me stop a second and think. Okay, here's what I wanted to have happen. Can you all just do me a favor? I'm really sorry. Human being, and I make mistakes too. Heads up. So thank you. Can you make them both count by tens? Pretty please. Well, and on the side, we're going to make that count. Well, actually, let me think how I want those to count. I think if we make those count by 20s, we'll be okay. Let's make these count by 20s. Sorry. I'm a human being as well. I make mistakes. All right. So let's make the X's count by 10s and the Y's count by 20s. Then it'll fit on here a little bit better. I'm so sorry. Thank you for being cool and fixing it. But that's what happens when you make a mistake, is you fix it. You don't be a giver-upper. You go, hey, I made a whoopsie. I done goofed. Okay, so we counted the X's by 10s, the Y's by 20s. Let me go back to the graph and we'll find some of our pretty points. So it starts at 0, 50. So you can put a point at 0, 50. And then I found another one at 20, 80. So 20, 80 is another one. And it said at least 3. So let me see if I can find another one here. Here's a good one. I got 40, 110. Do you see that? I can't land exactly on it. I'm not good at that. But do you see 40, 110? I got it close enough. So 40, 110 would be right there. So it is going to look like this. Looks like a little clock hand.
Wait, let's see the middle one.
That one was 20, 80. And then I found 40, 110. Cool. All right. Thank you. That went all right. So your slope is the 150. What's your y-intercept? 50. That's what you pay to start with. Now, can you listen to me? Because this is on the test, okay? Do this on you. When you get your y-intercept, it's f of 0. The reason for that is, now I just wrote 50 there, but it's technically the point 0, 50. All right, the x-intercept. This is your x-axis. Does this graph touch the x-axis? No, so none. Is none an acceptable answer? Yeah, it just doesn't touch. Are you guys focusing with me back there? All right, domain is not all reals in this case because we don't have negative money. Your money has to stay above what number? What's the lowest amount of money? 0. You have to stay bigger than 0. You can't have negative dollars. Or I guess X is the hours because it was, or no, not hour, miles. Jeez Louise. Anyway, you can't have negative of any of those things, but you can't drive negative miles. And then your range. What Y value are we staying above for this graph? And why does that make sense? Why would we spend, that's your y-intercept. You're going to spend $50 even if you drive nowhere. It's $50 for that flat rate. Now, I don't know if you remember this from last unit, but zeros means the exact same thing as x-intercepts. So since that's none, this is none. Do you remember copying that answer over? Like I was like, hey, it's just the same answer. It's just another word for the same thing. So if that's none, that's none. All right, go ahead and flip over. So we're getting into our parallel and perpendicular lines. This says, does it say parallel or perpendicular? I don't want to read to you. I want you to read. It says perpendicular. So look it. Opposite reciprocal. If the slope of this line is negative 3/5, what is the slope that we want? Good. 5/3. Positive 5/3. And then do you remember me saying scribble this out? Get rid of it because you don't need it for anything else. A lot of you did that on the quiz. I was super proud of you. I was like, they listened to me. Yay. This is your point. That's your slope. These are your ingredients. Put it into your recipe. It'll be y minus which one of those numbers? 2. Good. Y minus 2. Hold on. I'm ending this pass here. All right. So y minus 2 equals what? 5/3. Parentheses. It's -6. Are you guys with me back there? Okay. Just checking. I like it when you talk to each other about the stuff. That's why you're in groups. I just want to make sure everybody's with me. All right. And then you have 2 steps. First one is what? Distribute. Good. So 5/3 x minus. Now, I do not know what 5/3 times 6 is. What shall I do? Put it in the calculator. So let me come over here. We're going to do 5/3 times 6. Boom. There you go. What is it? 10. And then what's your last step there? Add 2, plus 2. I don't care if you say plus 2 or add 2. I know what you mean. We're communicating. All right, so your final answer is y equals 5/3 x. Now, if you don't know this, you could put it in the calculator, but I'm going to throw it out there. Do you know what -10 plus 2 is? -8. Good. Nice job, guys. Perfect. Lovely. All right, we're going to use this graph to answer these questions. Identify the equation of line M. Count the little boxes. How much up and over does this go? You have to find some pretty points. I just highlighted a couple of them there. Do you see these pretty points? Oh, did I skip a few? Oh, you're right. There we go. Up 2 over 1. So y equals, now you can write 2 over 1, but what is 2 over 1? Yeah, just 2. So 2x. Would I mark it wrong if you wrote 2 over 1? No, that's fine. It's an acceptable answer. And then what's your y-intercept here? Yep, -3. You had ones like that on Delta Math at one point. You just look at it, write the answer. All right, identify point A. What is this point? That is literally all I'm asking you. Do not overthink that. -1, 5. That is it. Do not, everyone gets that one right, okay? That's all you're being asked for. So does this say parallel or perpendicular? I want you to read. Parallel means the same slope. Be like, hey, I didn't remember that. Well, when you match it up on the first page, see how it says parallel slopes are the same? Just look back at that. Use the test to help you take the test. So we want to go through this point, and we want our slope to be what? What did we say the slope of this line was? 2. Good. Perfect. Now, I won't mark it wrong if you write 2x. It's technically just 2, but. So this is your point and your slope. Those are your ingredients. Have we done this enough times yet? Like, it's repetition. Y minus 5. Do it in your sleep. Equals 2, parentheses, x plus 1. A lot of math is repetition and organization. It is not really intelligence. It is about organization. Go ahead. So we're writing a line that's parallel to that line that goes through. So we're actually writing the equation. That's a really good question. We're writing the equation of this line. Do you see what I'm saying? So here's what I'll say to that. He's saying, can't we just look at this one and figure it out? If it's wrong, I can't do any partial credit because you did not show me any steps for your thinking. It would just be completely wrong. So I recommend against it. But you aren't wrong. You could draw in. Do you see what he's saying? Like if you draw in this parallel line, like you can see it hits at 7. Do you see that? 5 plus 2 is 7. So it'd be y equals 2x plus 7. I mean, yeah, if your answer's right, I'm going to mark it right. But if it's wrong, I can't give you any partial credit. So I recommend writing the steps, is my 2 cents. You can do whatever you like with that. All right. And then it says write an equation that is perpendicular going through that point. So our point is still -1, 5. I'm just going to rewrite that so I have it here. But I don't want a slope of 2. For perpendicular, I need to make it negative. Good job. Good. Why is it 1/2? 2 over 1, but you flipped it. Good, perfect. Nice job, guys. That was excellent. We're gonna do it one more time. Y minus 5 equals -1/2 x plus 1. You just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's no excuse for not knowing your recipe at this point. We've done it 7 gazillion times. All right, distribute. Y minus 5 equals negative a half x minus a half. Oh no, there's a fraction. You're gonna be okay because we have a calculator. And your last step is add 5. Actually, some of you might be able to do that without a calculator. Do you know what negative a half plus 5 is, or 5 minus a half? I'm fine with a decimal for that. We'll put it in the calculator. There it is. So negative a half plus 5 is 4.5. So your final answer, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4.5. Or if you wanted to turn that back into a fraction and put the fraction instead, that's cool too. I'm good with whatever. Last page. You guys are doing so good. This is excellent. You're all going to destroy this test, is my hope. You just have to remember this stuff until Thursday. All right. I can determine if a point is the solution to an inequality. How do you know? Stick with me for just a little bit longer here, guys. How do you know if it's a solid or a dotted line? Yeah, the line underneath the equal to. So this one would be dotted. Good. So you're going to start at 2. Count to 2 right there. Your slope is negative a fourth. So you're going to go down 1 over 4. Down 1 over 4, down 1 over 4. And then dotted line. I did not draw mine very straight, but that's okay. Thank you for getting the door. I appreciate you. All right, and then are we going to shade in above or below? It says y is greater than, so we want to shade above. Now listen, couldn't I have just typed the whole thing in the calculator? Yeah, look, just look. I'm going to type it. Y is greater than negative 1/4 x plus 2. I'm going to hit the little home button to take us home. There is no excuse for missing that question. You can just type it in the calculator. No one should miss a calculator question. You can just type it in, okay? Now, this one, they give you the graph. Isn't that nice? We're going to circle all the ones that are answers. So 5, 0, that's right here. What do you think? 5 zeros right there? Yes. If it's in the shaded part, it counts. 0, 0. No. Negative 3, 1 is right here. No. 3, 5. Now that might be on the line. Okay, let's talk about that. 3, 5 is on the line, but it's dotted. Now, if it was solid, it would count. Yes, you want it in the shaded part. And again, if it's a solid line and it's on the line, it counts. But if it's a dotted, it doesn't count. Can you please stop that? Thank you. All right, 2, negative 3. What do you think? Yeah, 2, negative 3 is right there. That's in the shaded part. And then 10, negative 10 is right here. So yes. All right, and then the last one. In the past, a phone company, I wrote in the past because this was like back in the 90s. Now you have unlimited, minutes and whatever. But a phone company charged $20 fee plus $50 per minute. So let's write that out. It would be $20 plus, yeah, that is 50 cents. So 0.5, it has the per, so what do I have to put with that? X. Good. That's your slope. You could have written this the other way around too. That's fine. I just wrote it that way because that's how it's written. $20 fee plus 50 cents per minute. Per means that's your slope. Now you only have $100. That means you can spend $100 or less. You cannot spend more than what you have. So less than or equal to 100.